The Acolyte has been touted by its creators as being one of the most inclusive entries into the Star Wars saga since the series' inception. However, one notable group is strikingly absent and nowhere to be seen on screen. Let's talk about that on That Park Place Podcasts Online, or as we'd like to call it, T3PO.
We're going to take a look right now at the Acolyte trailer as best we can. Now, we cannot play the Acolyte trailer because, again, Disney is licking their chops to take us down. But I'm going to go frame by frame for a particular reason here, okay? So we're going to make sure we get this silenced. We're going to go through the frame by frame. And there's something I want you all to watch for as I go through this, okay? As we play frame by frame, folks, I want you to watch and see, is there a particular demographic missing from this trailer? Does everybody understand? Watch and see, is there a particular type of person that is nowhere to be found in this trailer? Okay, we've got a Asian boy and weird-looking alien creature. Okay.
Can I just point out already, how in the world does that guy get his shirt on in the morning?
It's a good question. It's a really good question. Buttons in the back, Velcro, of course. We've got little white girl, fuzzy alien creature again. Okay, we've got Asian girl. We've got girls of different ethnicities. Asian boy in the background. Everybody paying attention? Now remember, I really don't care about a lot of this racial stuff. I just like people. I just really like people. I think all people are worthy of great care. But I want you to watch.
Like the aliens?
I don't know. I hate aliens. Here's another scene. Okay, look at the background characters. Looks to me like every single one of them is a woman, right? Okay. Now look at this. Again, looks like almost every single one of them is a woman. Hey, everybody paying attention?
Except for the Asian guy in the middle.
One Asian guy in the middle. White woman versus woman of African descent, except in a galaxy far, far away, dark-skinned woman. Still doing that, still doing that, still doing that. Okay.
Which June?
White woman. This June. Isn't it exciting? It's a sizzling experience. We've got another. Can't tell what the ethnicities here are. Going forward. Look at that. Scared, pitiful, presumably white dude.
Can I just say, I'm so glad that they got Garfunkel to be on this show.
Very good of them, yes. And he appears for all of 2 seconds at max. Okay, then let's continue on. Okay, we've got Asian man. We've got white woman versus, again, dark-skinned woman. All women. Anybody seeing a pattern here? I mean, we're literally going frame by frame. Asian man, dark-skinned woman. We've got dark-skinned man, women. Okay, so we've got a trailer that's 1:45, and I'm going to say that there are over 100 actors somewhere in this trailer, and I'm going to say that at best, because I don't know that man's ethnicity, but at best, there is a white dude for 2 seconds. Now,
I just
I'm
gotta
not
say
here.
As a person who's worked with influencers in the past, the fact that this ends with a ring light is very appropriate to me.
So
when I saw it, I thought the One Ring. You know, I mean, are they trying to go up Lord of the Rings here, or what? It spins into frame if you run it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would say here is that I'm not race obsessed, right? This is not something that I look for, care for too much. But what does stick out to me is that when you have an ensemble of maybe 100 actors, and only one of them is the demographic that buys your product, the majority, right? When only one of them fits that mold, it's not that I'm offended. I'm not. But I see that has to be a concerted effort. Like, you have to try to make this be exclusionary to white males.
Well, and we also know that while we're
by
not race obsessed, we know for a fact that they are.
Yes.
So this is all intentional on their part.
Right.
And how dare we notice?
So I'm just curious what the panel thinks about this idea, and let's tread carefully, but I think that it's intentional that in the Acolyte, under the direction of Leslie Headland, who is the former personal assistant to one Mr. Weinstein, who she was in close proximity to all of this stuff, whether she's innocent or not. She also helped fund the destruction of Gina Carano's career, according to the lawsuit filed by Gina Carano. I don't think that it's an accident that there's, at best, in the most favorable conditions, 2 seconds of a white dude in there. I think this is the final attempt by Kathleen Kennedy and Leslie Headland to eradicate the demographic that they apparently hate, who has been, by and large, the biggest supporter of Star Wars. So, to me, this is kind of like if you released a Black Panther 3 trailer and there were no black people in the trailer, and I would be like, "What the heck are you doing?" I mean, that's what this feels like. It's just strange. It feels concerted, artificial, synthetic, etc. Panel, your thoughts.
Well, just to point out, it would be like releasing a Black Panther movie that doesn't have Black Panther in it. But
Oh, they already did that. That's part of the norm for Disney at this point.
Wahunky Forever, it's called.
Sorry, you got me, Lou, on that one. Oh man.
Let's just point out we know that Leslie Headland and all of the people who work on this are big on this bizarre idea that there's no morality here, that it's all about looking like today. They said it, I think they probably, as you and I have talked about in the past, Pro, they probably said it in the High Republic because it eliminates the question of why is Luke Skywalker not in this? When are we going to run into R2D2, C3PO, whatever? Well, they haven't been invented yet, they haven't been built, or they haven't been born. So the idea, maybe they could somehow shoehorn Palpatine into this, or maybe they could do their ridiculous World Between Worlds shenanigans here. But right now they're going to a galaxy far, far away, and a very, very long time ago. So I think that they can say that this is a world. They can wave their hand and say this world doesn't matter, but also isn't it so amazing that we constructed this world that looks like LA minus white people?
I think it needs to be said. First of all, it's even dangerous for us to talk about this because you can't defend white guys in today's society. But I think that all people are worthy of defense, and when they're excluded, I don't think that's okay. Anybody, I don't think should be excluded, especially when you have these massive ensemble shows that feature all kinds of people. So when I see one particular group missing, and when that is the key demographic that buys the product, that leads me to raise an eyebrow. In just the same way we talked about the Black Panther situation. But what I would say is, isn't this an interesting juxtaposition? That this morning we get the statement from George Lucas, and then we get this trailer a couple of hours later, and it looks to me like Star Wars is no longer a place for people who look like George.
Wait, actually, there is a white guy in the trailer. I didn't catch it, but doing some research, I did realize there is a white guy in the trailer.
Who is this masked white guy?
Actually, he is quite masked. He's over 6 feet tall, and he's always wearing a mask. And I think you know who I'm talking about here. Jonas Suotamo, or however you pronounce that name, the huge guy that's in the Wookiee suit. The only white guy in the trailer. Is a Wookiee.
Guys, I understand this is an issue, and I understand that in the grand scheme of things, currently it's an issue as far as what we've seen in the D-files and everything else. But back in the 70s and 80s, all the bad guys on television were white businessmen, and all the black people were junkies or victimized people. So this stereotypical by race or by position in society is not exactly a new thing in the biz, just for the record.
But when it's your key demographic, Lou, so let's expound on that, okay? So when it's your key demographic, so Star Wars is largely supported historically.
Yes.
Star Wars was seen as a nerdy white guy kind of thing. That's not to say that people of other races or people of other genders could not enjoy Star Wars, right? Women could enjoy Star Wars.
It's where most of the money was at.
Right, and we've talked about this before with reports from our toy industry insiders who say that that's who buys the merch. So that's not to disparage anybody, right? It's like if you said, what's the famous cheerleading movie? You guys remember that? What is that?
Bring It On.
Bring It On, okay? If you said to me, hey, we're going to do a Bring It On sequel. It's going to be a cheerleading movie, but we're not going to put girls in it. Like, I don't know what you want me to do with that, right? And that's the same thing with the Acolyte. It's like, okay, why are we purposefully trying to eliminate all appearances of white men from this trailer? Like, it's not a great business decision.
When it comes to race and differences, the world is not just black and white. The trailer, I'd like it to take its own piece of advice and say the world is not just good and evil. It'd be nice if they could actually learn from themselves.
Yes, well, we'll get to that shortly as well in terms of the protagonist and what is said. Oh boy. Kill the past if you have to is going to be not quite as incendiary as that one. Andy, do you have any thoughts on this one? I know it's a really spicy topic and it's a minefield to even step into, but what do you think in terms of the toy side of this? Because you can't merchandise this now because, I guess you can sell the Wookiees.
I'm surprised they didn't swipe Zack Snyder's vagina portal in space for this.
The what?
That's at Epcot.
Rebel Moon.
Andy, wait until you see the Sarlacc pits.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh my!
Okay,
Oh my!
so-
We're going
I
there.
hate
We're going.
sand.
I'm having too much fun, you guys.
All right, Andy. Sorry. Andy, go ahead.
You take a trip to Ollie's, and you're going to find a frightening amount of Rey figures, Reva figures, and all the female crew. Hot Toys just announced their line from the Kenobi series and from Ahsoka. So they have the Mandalorian girl. She's on there. I'm going to make a prediction here, and you're going to see that if you go on Sideshow's website, you can still find Captain Marvel figures. That movie came out in 2019. So that thing's been sitting on there, like offering discounts for 5 years and hasn't sold out. So that's off that initial run. Howard Chance said they will never do another line of prequel or sequel trilogy figures because they lost so much money on them. I don't see how this is going to be a winning strategy with this. Now, there's another thing you have to think about too with this is that you have this dearth of or this absence of white men in this prequel, very, very prequel series you're going to come out with. Now, at some point, it becomes majority white men, which happened because like this stuff was filmed in 1976 in England, and in England in 1976 it was probably filled with, I don't know, white guys working in there because that's what English people look like. And that's what you had to work with. So when you needed extras, you got them from England, where it happened to be all a bunch of white guys. Now, you're going to put this in context here. What happened to them after this? It's kind of like what they did with the Mandalorian. Where are all these characters that you created in the sequel trilogy? Where did they all go? It's like, so now is this going to play into this whole thing about, look, the evil white men took over and that's who's running the empire and they eliminated everybody else? Is that going to come into this? I wouldn't put anything past them at this point. It's the subconscious messaging that you're putting through this. It's like, you don't have a place here. We still want your money, and if you don't go to see this, you're some kind of bigot, but we want your money for this. I think that if you watch movies like Enemy Mine, where you had Louis Gossett Jr. in heavy makeup, the nerdy guys like us always gravitated to these stories, and we didn't care who they looked like. Nobody was running around with elf ears that read Lord of the Rings. Nobody was dressing up like dwarves and things like that back then. Like, yeah, later on that stuff happened, but we always liked these because they're classic human stories. And when you go out of your way to negate this, you're alienating your male customer base from this, because men cannot understand how women think, and women can't understand how men think. It's anybody who's got a wife, a son or a daughter can see the difference with this. Boys and girls, like what's the saying? Girls will watch little boy stuff, but boys won't watch the little girl stuff. We don't think the same way. So when you're making this like female centric thing, I mean, and arguably you could say that people like Joss Whedon wrote women better than women write women. Because like you see, like a lot of these movies that are so popular amongst women are usually written by men. So I think what they're doing with this is they're really eliminating a large portion of their potential viewer base, because there's going to be a lot of guys that just can't relate to this. And like, as you pointed out, bro, when you had that number, the sheer staggering number, where are all the little boy Jedi students? Like, did we just have like, an estrogen infused year where like, all the females got born? Or
it's not just a race issue, it's a sex issue, because we look at those still clips and it's like, okay, well, it's 90% women in this thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Well,
also it's also that the Jedi decided to be more inclusive in their taking children from across the galaxy.
That highlight was from our live stream on the WDW Pro channel, where the full recording is available as an exclusive benefit for our members, so be sure to become one today. So what do you think about the Acolyte trailer? Is it as inclusive as advertised, or in your opinion, are there certain people being left out? And is it purposeful or happenstance? Please let us know in the comments below. Be sure to share this video if you like this video, and subscribe to That Park Place Podcasts online. Please comment, like, and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to That Park Place Podcasts online. your source for exclusive content and highlights from WDW Pro, The Pro Show, and That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.